Hello everybody, hello, welcome for this new video on my YouTube channel Pachamama Art. This is Fanny Menardi. Welcome and thank you for joining if you're coming live or watching the replay. Today is a special for Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the fathers. I called my dad this morning, he didn't pick up, but I left him a message. And I also have many men, older mentors that inspired me along the journey, mostly since I came in America, or even when I was in Bahrain and worked with the director of the Alliance Française. We were really good friends. I learned a lot, and somewhat I feel like men become mature, after they're 40, 50. So I feel more inspired to work with men that have more experience and maturity, and also the strength. We see a lot of men in politics, because when you see on Facebook, for example, the amount of insults and negative things and wars, and the world needs strength. So as a single mom and woman who is here without a lot of family, I relate a lot. I needed a lot of strengths and pillars in my life, so this video is about you guys today. So I'm gonna talk about my dad. I know some of you have been asking indirectly, but maybe to know a little bit more about my dad, and then talk about our president, Joe Biden, first. I have the honor of presenting him in a family way, let's say, and Tony Robbins and my mentors. And then I will talk about Russia, because you know that they call Russia the fatherland, and related to all the conflicts that we see now, and how with my social media, my Facebook page, my Instagram, this is how I actually build my network and be able to tag people, connect people, find the information, and try to gather everybody. So I went from art to politics. So it's a video about arts and politics. So I hope you're gonna watch till the end. As always, I'm thinking of making a 5-10 minutes video, but then right before I start, I'm like, I will talk about the encyclopedia, we'll talk about some other stuff, and so it's probably going to be 30 minutes, 40 minutes, but I hope you stay and join, because these are topics that are so important that we talk about, because we might be in America and we have the comfort and the safety, not everybody, but most of us, but on other parts of the world, there is conflicts, there are victims of environmental catastrophes or wars. We still have weapons, they're building more weapons to replace the weapons that are being sent to the wars, stuff that are unacceptable for me, and I want to address it. And maybe you can share this video or talk about it to your own communities, and address also the stereotypes that we have towards cultures that we are not familiar with. So talking about all this, okay? So what does war have to do with, what does art have to do with war and politics? Well, everything, because as an artist, world traveler, admirative of many cultures and the wonders and monuments of the world, I like to see beautiful things. I like to see beautiful architectures. And instead of focusing all our energy on destroying, we should focus on building beautiful palaces, architectures, art that talk about the best of our history, to inspire the next generation to continue this legacy without the hate and the propaganda that you can see in France, for example. We are born, the media, they hate America. When I came here, I had so many stereotypes about America, McDonald's, weapons, and most of them are true. But more and more with the traveling and the social media, we're opening up to new cultures, and so it's changing. Inside the military, inside the social media, the governments, they are evolving. Okay, there's no more conspiracy because everything is transparent. They have to share everything publicly, all the meetings on social media, all of that. So it's evolving. So instead of being stuck in our stereotypes, we can evolve with time as well. So our reality starts manifesting and implement the mindset that we've been working on to spread all around. Okay, so let's start. Father's Day. So I'm going to talk about my family to start with. So my grandma, Dean, my mentor, always talks about his grandma. So I'm going to talk about my grandma and my dad a little bit. My grandma, she is the kindest person in the world. She never argued with anybody. She was so scared of conflict. Her only thought was always like, oh, did I say something rude? Like, it doesn't want to bother. She wants to be almost like transparent. No, doesn't want to bother, doesn't want to hurt anybody. So kind. She always told me, you're so special, so I believed it. So she was the only one always telling me, you're so special, you're so wonderful, And my friends also, then when I started traveling and going to Bahrain, my friends, they were like, oh, you're so successful, everything that you do, every time you get the job, and your life is so perfect. So that built my confidence because I believed that I could. So when I went somewhere, like the first time I took my driver's license, I was so sure of myself because I always managed to have everything the first time I tried. And I remember the first time I took my driver's license, I don't know what happened. I missed something and I failed. And after that, I hurt my confidence so much. The second time and the third time, the fourth time, I almost killed a lady like driving because I was so stressed. So when I came in the US and it was so difficult to find a job and I saw so many rejections, my confidence really took a hit. And then my family, then I got divorced and then I got broke, even though I still have the comfort around me, but the stress of something like this happening to me after I felt like I was all set, all comfortable, marriage and everything, that was really, really a tough time for me. And instead of having the support of my friends, my dad and my family saying, no, don't worry, you got this, that's fine, you can do this, it was the complete opposite. Everybody told me, that's it, give up, go back to France. Your art, yeah, it's cool, but you're wasting so much time on social media. It doesn't bring you any money. Your business, if it's not profitable, then it's just a hobby. These people, your mentors, whatever, they don't care. It's just business. They don't know you. So all I heard from my dad, my family, my friends was, that's it, you're divorcing, you're nothing without your husband, you're unable to do anything, go back to France, give up everything. And I was like, wait, do you know all the work that I've done, all the art I created, all the videos I made, all the commitment, all the energy, the books, everything I've done? Do you know everything I invested for that? I'm not just gonna close that and leave and give up. And why is that? Because my dad, he worked in a bank all his life. After college, he started working in this bank and he worked there. He's got the same job for his entire life and he hated it. All his life, he hated his job. He was always like, you need to find a job that you love. It doesn't matter if it brings you a lot of money or not. You need to love your job. Don't be like me, hating your job or whatever. This is what he was telling me at first. So when I traveled and everything, I was already doing things that I love. But he hated it so much that 2 years before retirement, he was going to retire at 65, I don't remember what age, and he was going to get his retirement package with maybe 40,000, 50,000 euros, all his benefits, full retirement of everything. But he's so angry, frustrated, such a bad character because he didn't have mentors or a lot of friends, or I don't know, so stressed He just insulted everybody in a meeting one day. He didn't want to go in the meeting. He said, I'm not going. The boss said, you have to go to the meeting. He said, nobody's telling me what to do. He went there, he insulted everybody, he left, and he never went back to work. Just 2 years before retirement, after working for 40 something years, and he lost everything. He lost his benefits, he lost his the package he was gonna have, so he was on unemployment for 2 years with minimal income until he got his retirement, but that is minimal. So pretty much everything he worked for his entire life, just because he couldn't stand it, he gave it up 2 years before the end. And now for the rest of his life, he's always stressed about money. He's got arthritis, like joint pains, and often he has, I'm not criticizing because he did the effort to work for so long, you know, that's his choice, that's his right, but now he has arthritis and on his ankles and his knees, and often he can't walk. He's for 3 weeks, he's paralyzed and he can walk, and I'm telling him, you're paralyzed because you're so stressed that you're scared to walk. You know, when you have a problem, a physical problem on your feet or your legs and you can't walk, is because you're scared to take the step in your life subconsciously, and then it manifests. So of course he doesn't believe me when I tell him that. He's like, yeah, you're not a doctor, whatever. I'm like, drink ginger infusions every day, because ginger is good for your joints. So it will help you, you know, ease your articulations and stuff like that. So anyways, so this paralysis in the family, then they think it's normalcy. So when you're reproducing the situation, give up. He's telling me, give up, just give up, give up. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna give up. I did all this work for so long. I'm not gonna give up so close to my goals, you know, that was at first having a profitable business and doing workshops, but then it evolved because by not giving up, I expanded my network with the United Nations, with the scientists, the military, and now the White House, and we're working on conflicts spanning all the way to Russia, Bulgaria, because the art is one universal language that unites us all. Okay, so it became, of course, it's invisible, it's not tangible yet. So when I talk about it to my friends, they're telling me, but do you have emails? Do you have answer? Did someone reply to you? Where is the proof? I was like, it's catching back to me. Okay, you can't see it yet, but all this energy you've been putting in the invisible, the ether, the reality is catching back to me. It's gotta manifest. If it doesn't manifest for me, seriously, I don't know who it's gonna manifest for, because nobody was ready to work for free. Nobody was ready to write a book about people that never answered an email, but they answer in their own way on their pages. I explained before that it started when I started tagging a couple of pages, and then they were like, oh, who is she? What does she do? Okay, now we can be resonating, working in resonance in parallel, and little by little harmonizing our speech, our progress, so to make sure we're all going in the same direction. Okay, so yeah, so that was my dad. He's a great person. He's just you know, in France we work, the salaries are ridiculous. Like, you earn $1,500 a month, you think you've made it in life, you know. Well, here it's not better. I earn zero, but I'm not gonna settle for going back to France and earn $1,500 to do something that doesn't give me allows me to thrive after all these efforts. And I believe what my mentors were telling me when they say it's possible, it can be massive, and they dared me to never give up, you know. So even though we argued sometimes and got disappointed, and I still think it was too rough, that you can still I don't know, invest into each other along the way. But at the same time, I feel like they wanted me like angry because of this empathy, of being in a situation where people don't believe in you. And I don't know, you can't imagine just the disappointment I have on the people who just told me to give up the art, because I felt like, oh, that means nothing, you know. But for me, it means, it doesn't matter what it means for the others. It means meaningful. But by keeping going, I attracted the people who could see the energy, who could understand that language, until until the point that it developed this universal language in between everybody. Okay, so when I saw all the injustice, and then I started being more engaged, and I said, oh, I want to become president. And this time, instead of seeing closed doors, the people, Joe Biden, the president, the government, the United Nations, they were interested. They were like, oh, you want to become the president? Okay. They opened the doors and they were like, welcome. And they welcomed me so nicely, you know, always when they're making their speech, always a word of welcoming, or a little wink, you know, that reminds you of something that you wrote, to say, okay, we need people that are committed and developing a sense of family. So this is why I was so appreciative. You want to put it up?
Yeah.
Come here. This is my son, Esteban. Here, turn around. Hold on, if you're moving, I can't.
Okay, I can't see now. Ow, ow.
A sense of family. So
Ow,
I want to
ow.
say a special happy Father's Day to Joe Biden, because you really are a father figure to the country. You're a man of the people. You're always visiting the manufacturers. You're so involved and committed in the roads. And you know, in Egypt, actually, I'm making my second movie about Egypt. And the greatest deed and accomplishments that the pharaohs could do during their reign was to build roads and bridges between the cities, okay? Because we could transport people, we could transport food and the goods and stuff like that. So everything, this renovation, I see it all the way into my neighborhood, okay? At first you see on TV and you're like, yeah, I don't see that. Where are the jobs? I don't see the jobs. Okay, the renovation, I don't see. Yeah, I start seeing it in my neighborhood. The street where I live, there was nothing. And now they're building a mall, they're renovating gas stations, they're doing new cafes, little restaurants, like everything I envisioned since the beginning. And that I was complaining, there is nothing in where I live. Now they're building it. So they're manifesting it, but it takes time. Okay, the same way that President Biden is the only president so far that's been stepping up against the gun lobby and the pharmaceutical lobby. And you know, in France, we're a lot into conspiracy theories, so we're all about the against government stuff, and they don't control the country. The real controllers, the real rulers are the gun lobbies, the pharmaceutical industries, that promote this crap food on the advertisement on TV, and so right after they can promote their medicine, you know. So now he's the first one who put his nose into that and said, hey, the pharmaceutical industries, there should be non-profits and not overcharging for people who have their life depend on it. And the gun industry, America is the only country in the world where guns are legal, where everybody can access the guns. What? It's true. In France, we don't have guns accessible. There are guns, but it's just for like the gangs or really ghetto or very criminals, you know, so it's limited. And if they get caught, they get arrested. Here in the US, nobody. I can go buy a gun if I want to, and in a moment of paranoia, anxiety, which I have often, I get angry often, even with my child. It's difficult to be a mom without a dad, to be a mom and a dad, and try to solve problems and try to make a business. After 6 o'clock, we're screaming in the house, okay, because it's crazy. So yeah, I'm not saying I'm gonna go and shoot my son, but someone who's a little more weak and doesn't have all the support that I have from mentors spiritual support, and all of that, it's quick. All it takes is a few seconds, so this is imperative that this disappears. And then for the entire world, now there is a war in Ukraine. All the countries are building alliances. They're all sending their weapons out there, and it's the perfect time now to say, okay, all the weapons are there. Now we are the people who decide we are for peace in the world. We don't want no more weapons. If we don't have them, we can't go to war. We're going to focus all our energy in Olympic Games, sports, new energies, providing water. Imagine if all the energy that's put in the war right now was put into providing free water and electricity to everybody in the world. That would be profitable, wouldn't it? So even food, why not? So it's got to be progressive, There are still a ton of people in America that think that guns are positive, are favorable. So what they're doing right now, this little game between Congress and the government, the White House and the Congress, please Congress, start passing the gun laws, this is creating a debate in people's mind, is the first step towards acceptance. I talked about it in my encyclopedia, the stages of acceptance. At first, you reject it, or you mock it, or you ignore it, then you question it, then it becomes normalcy, you start to accept it, then you promote it. Okay, so we're acting at all the levels. Some people are already promoting it, some people are all ignoring it because they're not following the information, some people they're questioning it. So I believe this little debate between Congress and just posting Congress, please Congress, pass the gun laws, is a way to say, okay, the people is not the enemy, the Congress is the one, but the day that they're finally going to agree on passing the law, we're going to be able to say to the people, finally, we all together have that victory and we can be safe. Sometimes it takes a little bit of strategy, okay, to reach to people knowing maybe all these shootings, is it in vain that all these kids died and now they're showing these stories, okay? This is not okay that the kids were saying, we thought this was going to be the last time this would ever happen, but it's still happening. Okay, except that now they're publishing this so people can understand. I just don't understand how people can still be in favor of guns. It's just, it goes against humanity. Same for the nuclear weapons. The real enemies of this world, they're not Putin, they're not the politicians, they're the gun manufacturers. We need to seize these people. We need to take their profit, put them bankrupt, take their money, and put this into feeding the people that don't have water and that don't have money. Okay? So yeah, the progressive. And I know that I'm maybe too transparent, but it's also their strategy to show everything. So we're not accused of plotting, but showing your strategy, showing your plans. They say, don't tell what you're going to do until you do it. I did the exact opposite. I'm always saying, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. But maybe sometimes I failed miserably, but at least I put my ideas out there, I put my vision boards out there, and the people who have the same vision, they joined. And so maybe in the short term I didn't accomplish it, but I did attract the people who have the same vision board as I have, and then we keep expanding this vision board to all of our global missions together. Okay, so that is the power of art, the power of speech, the power of networking, partnerships, alliances, and hope and dreams. Okay, like Tony Robbins says, the first step is to dream, and then you talk about it, it's possible, but when you schedule it, it's real. So we're at that point. Silence is completely, that's what they say. Right? They encouraged me. Yes, President Biden, I wanted to say thank you because you encouraged me when I was writing my book. Almost. Okay. When I was writing my book and he was writing my stories, he encouraged me. You know, some stuff I wasn't sure if I would dare putting these stories publicly, because at first it had to be, you know, military operations had to be secret. I was the national enemy, and I didn't reveal anything. I just had posted art some way that I often post things in advance before they happen, or symbolically, that many things that I post, they're prophetic a little bit, you know. So there was this whole chaos time, but they always encouraged me to tell the truth, and so I'm grateful for that, because it encouraged everybody else in the long run to be more transparent. Okay, even Russia, I think the only way that we solve that is to show better and show friendship, that all the stereotypes that they're talking about America is outdated completely. Yes, and he even defended my friendship with Dean, you know, many times. He said, oh, not talking about us, but talking about other people, how they argue like hell, but 2 minutes after they're still partners and they're still allies, you know, going towards the same goal and wanting the best for each other. So that matters, because in that community I was like the black sheep, the enemy that needs to be kept out. And the only people who helped me at first, there was the scientific community, but nobody wanted to be associated with me because they were maybe scared for their own family or their own business, and I was giving everything for free, so it wasn't profitable for them. I don't know, but Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins, they're the two at first who always stepped up for me and encouraged me to keep my message. When I was having a conversation with my dad, who was angry at me, you gotta go back to France. Then I didn't talk to my dad for 2 years. After that, we had an argument, because one day I said, now you're gonna stop telling me what to do, you're gonna stop yelling at me. I'm a big grown-up woman, I'm working on some projects, nobody's gonna stop me. And more stuff that wasn't really nice. And after that, we didn't talk for 2 years. Luckily, now we're talking again. We're all good, you know. We call each other and all of that. But I had Dean on the background telling me, "You don't let anybody tell you what to do. This is your message. Are you dimming your glow, you know, to match the people around you, the people who don't believe in you? You have your uniqueness." Or why am I telling this story? Because I'm thinking all the time of a woman who, or someone who is talented, and they decide to stop because people tell them it's not profitable or whatever. But if you don't promote your essence, what your soul is made of, you're here for a reason. If your soul, you know that there are billions of people, and there's no two people who look exactly the same. Even two twins don't look exactly the same. So why do we have all this uniqueness that God created for us to be so unique? And there is only one like you, but you have to fit what everybody else say, or you have to comply. No, okay? If they don't listen to you, then you're not saying loud enough. And that's my thing now. I was like, you know that song, no, 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 no limits. Yes, I told you I was going to be a cockroach. I told you I was going to go everywhere. That if they don't want to listen to me, I'm going to speak louder. And now they hear me all the way to Russia. So I hope that this will help to pacify the relationships a little bit. Okay? So how did it start with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi? Michelle Obama was asking, I would love to hear a story. Baby, come on. Hey, can you go play the Nintendo over there? Because the sound is distracting me a little bit. Thank you. Michelle Obama was asking, I would love to hear a story of what your father or father figure changed your life or transformed your life. So I talked about it in my book. This is when all this drama happened, and I had this involved in some terrorism stories. I'm not going to bring this back up, but I was so scared just for posting art. Imagine the censorship. And Vladimir Putin, he talks about this in his speeches. He says in the West, they're censoring the culture. Okay, so I'm first hand being a victim of that, witnessed that. It was true a few years ago, and thanks to my story, this has disappeared, and they stepped up and they said, now silence is complicity. Put your message out there. The truth must be told. It doesn't matter if everybody's reputation, I think, maybe took a hit, my reputation, everybody else, but this is how we were smart enough to say, okay, we're going to use that to change it and become more transparent. So I was in a panic. I thought I was going to be either killed or arrested, and I was starting to follow Dean Graciosi's training, and I don't know by what miracle they, out of their millions of followers, one day he was speaking, and I felt like he was talking to me, like he was saying, oh, that's great. He said just a sentence, he said one thing that made me feel like he knows my story. He's talking to me, you know. He was, because I posted that. Okay, so here's the story. I'm not gonna go too long, but the U.S. and Russia were doing trainings in the Atlantic Ocean, okay, with nuclear submarines. Okay, so my husband comes home and he's telling me, he's all looking all dramatic. Yeah, we're looking for some Russian submarines, nuclear submarines.
Was it with me?
Yeah, you were here, baby.
Was he with me when he came back?
Yeah.
So
he came back from work. You were with me, and he's looking all dramatic. You know, like, what? Are we at war or anything? He's like, no, we're just
eating,
monitoring, right? And then another one of his, well, after that, I'll tell this after, but well, later on, another one of his coworkers came here because at the same day that he's telling me that, I'm posting a mandala, right, that looks like wires, and it looks like a clear water with wires around it, and I call it Together because it's got the symbol of strength. Can I find it?
You have the symbol of strength.
Yeah, it's got the symbol of strength on it, and I post this on Instagram. He comes home, he's telling me that, and I'm like, oh, how crazy, because the nuclear and the wires like reminds you of kind of a bomb, even though when I created the mandala, I had no idea, but I was already very often, I'm already channeling the information before it reaches to me, like simultaneously. So I posted that, and they saw, the Navy, people who were monitoring, I guess, my Facebook page or whatever, who had the same information about the nuclear submarines, took me as a whistleblower. So they were like, oh, look at her, she's got national security information, and she's using her mandalas to reveal those information, which was not true, because I posted it before I got the information, but then I realized it was synced. This is the time when I started to realize that I was forcing stuff. And so after that, this stuff went viral. It was like, oh, almost like Third World War. So I was like, national traitors and stuff. I was like, what in the world? I didn't do anything. This was such a misunderstanding. But I was, then after that, I started receiving threats in my house. Another guy came and he was like, oh, so, I got sabotaged my water heater, whatever. Another Navy guy, he came here, he was like, oh, so we got leaked everywhere, like the water heater, but also the information. He's like, no, we're just training with Russia. It's just training. We're training together. So I was like, oh, how are they training together if they're supposedly enemies. So that's already when I thought maybe the militaries, it's more games, and the media, how they manipulate the information maybe to justify sometimes that there is a war, just because they like to play hide and seek in the ocean, you know. So this is when I came up with the idea of the Space Olympics. If you want to play with technology and fast devices, crafts and stuff, then why not organizing the Space Olympics 2030 and do this together, you know, as a global Olympics, instead of doing it through war that is actually hurting people. So anyways, I was terrified, and this is when I watched this training from Dean, and he's like, hey, this is perfect, shows us how fast information can go out through social media, and we can use that, okay, to an advantage, the underdog advantage, to bring peace and you know, spread another message or whatever, and control it instead of letting it use you. How do you use that? So kind of how I started then building my networks on social media and stuff like that. But this is when it started, and then the day we followed up each other and building our business in parallel, and then Tony Robbins came in playing the games like the Ernie the horse that plays cricket. You know, he came to join the social media tag, almost, baby. Just a little bit of minute. Go put a shirt on, okay?
Why?
And be patient. Because I'm asking you to. So yeah, how the community kind of got created and the little story. Okay, so I'm gonna try to to continue, and then I came up with the Tony Robbins 2024 movement. So this is our big announcement, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to announce and hope that Tony Robbins, our dear mentor and inspiration and a father figure or uncle, I feel like he's like my uncle, will present himself for presidency in 2024. This is, you see, I put that in the book. With everything that is going on right now in the world, we need the strength at so many levels. I think he will be amazing in helping people building their business, creating an economy from the ground up, which is also President Biden's motto, right? We're building the economy from the ground up. It's the people who's creating the economy. Of course, the government is creating jobs and sending out resources and help, but it's got to be both ways. It's like waiting for the government to solve the problem in the world, but if we don't do anything, we have a duty of representation as well. So helping the small businesses become more profitable, or the middle classes become more wealthy. Okay, I believe that everything that they've created with the masterminds and the masters business mastery will be amazing for the economy, and also having someone who has a lot of network, who is deeply empathetic, has a story to share and strategies, and with a little hint of gangster, we need it as well, you know, the strength to lead the people and also position, you know, among the global community, the European Union, stuff like that, to support and continue. So I'm so excited because I really feel and want that the first time in the history of the world, the elections is going to be a legacy, you know, like Obama, President Barack Obama, when he, you know, Joe Biden was working for him when he was president. And now he's continuing the legacy they started to create together. And now President Biden he's supported by Barack Obama, you know? So this is what I see that politics should be, how we continue each other's work. You don't just come for 4 years and say, oh, I did my deed for 4 years, I'm done. Okay, it's what do we build in the long run, because the solid foundation you're creating is what's going to determine the future generations. So for the first time, I don't want to see an election of, oh, this guy, like he was with Trump, you know, oh, this guy so rude, like, oh, you didn't even have a degree, whatever they could say to just criticize each other and nasty, you know. This time it's going to be with so much respect and honor, and how can we support what you did and finished, or what you started, you know. Joe Biden, he's starting with the gun industry, he's preparing the mindsets, and honestly, we don't need 10 years to make this happen. We just need to say tomorrow, now we're removing all the guns, we are going to drop all the guns in Bulgaria. I will explain a little bit later, but we don't need 10 years. We need to just say, stop, now we're positioning for peace, but all the leaders need to join. You can't do that unless everybody's doing the same thing. You can remove half of the nuclear weapons on the side of the planet with the other ones that's still playing with it, or you can remove all the weapons from the US military if you have Russia trying to invade other countries in Europe. So it's got to start from a common agreement at the source. This is where we're starting. You can send as many people as you want on the ground. If the leaders that are nice and comfortable in their office are sending orders to just keep sending people, it will never end. Okay, so this is really a negotiation that we need to do at the heart of the people and by the heart. Really, this is what I'm trying to, you know, I have Russian friends. I have always wanted to learn Russian. I wish I had more time. You know, maybe, you know, I don't believe you have to grind to be successful in your life, because if I didn't have to work or try to make a living, I would have taken my money and I would have learned 2 more languages, Russian and Arabic. I've always wanted to learn that. A way or another, being forced to work, it's great, it built my experience, and now it's giving me a chance to pretense, right, to apply to the United Nations. Everything happens for a reason. But I've always wanted to visit Russia. I've always liked President Putin's audacity and assurance, and I think he can be a great actor of this change. I'm even wondering if he's not putting this out there with a higher goal of maybe showing the damages of the war, so we could reach a common agreement with the rest of the world and say, okay, now we're going to be the era that said stop to the war, and we're going to get rid of all the weapons, right? Maybe he's not as much of an enemy as we think. Maybe there is some stuff that we don't know under the table that is like, what do we need to do on the global scene to generate a global revolution against the gun lobbies? Not against country, okay? We're standing not for countries or people, we're standing for values. So yeah, a transition of government that's going to be really made out of love and support and legacy, and how can you continue and finish the work. Honestly, President Biden, 80 years old, with his wife, you know, going all around, still supporting the people. I didn't even know that he lost 2 of his children. Maybe this is what's giving him so much sense of family and how do you say, cherishing, protecting, you know, the people, because he knows how precious life is. So it touches me, you know, when I see people like that. I want to defend them. I want to make sure their voice is heard and that it expands all around the world, and mostly that their memory, I think mostly for a president or even for a mentor or someone who's been trying to do something important for your life, is remembered positively, you know, for what they accomplished. And when I see a president like George W. Bush, that has been involved in so many crimes, and the 9/11, or Trump, like the way he's talking about Mexicans and all these things. It's like, how can you reach such a great title and then people, they remember you as a terrorist, or people who ruin the economy, or I don't know. It's just, I mean, I don't want to criticize. I wasn't really a politician before that, so my opinion doesn't value much. But I think it's important, that we respect and we honor what they've created, and because this will last for centuries, Yeah. So see, I made my little map, vision board here with the successors. Tony Robbins, transition of honor. Yeah, I think they wanted me compassionate. This is why they gave me such a hard time. They wanted me angry, because when I'm nice, I fall in love with everybody and I'm not efficient. No, but I still think the power of love is more powerful than anything. But also, I cannot and never could stand injustice. You can be sitting at a cafe and the waitress is being aggressed by a guy that comes out, and nobody will move to help her because it's not your business. This is unacceptable. I freaking cannot stand this stuff, that this is the common thing now. They will kill someone right in front of you and nobody's gonna move a finger, because this is how you get in trouble. Yeah, no, that's my business. Okay, when you see some injustice, well, get into other people's business. If you know your neighbor is being beat up by their husband, or there's something going on, that's your business. Okay, we're responsible for each other. We need to promote solidarity. If nobody puts their nose into other people's business, then the criminals are gonna win. Okay, because they know you don't want to get in trouble, so they can do whatever they want. They keep selling guns to kids. They keep selling drugs to people who have their life depend on it. If Joe Biden didn't put his nose into what's going on with the insulin, then the people that die because they can't afford to have their medicine, you have to. This is your world. This is your community. This is your business. And if it's not your business, then you're not expecting anything from the government, or you don't expect anything from your neighbors when you need something. Okay, if it's not your business, then you're alone, and then you have no friends, and then you give up on everything, and then you don't believe in humanity. And sometimes I'm like that. Sometimes I see the wars, I see the stuff, and I'm just like, this is disgusting. I'd rather not even be in this world, because people, but you can't let that win. You have to show better by example. Okay, so the strength that we're gonna need to go against the gun lobbies, I think this is the new war of the century, is to remove the guns from this planet. So this is gonna be amazing. Tony Robbins, I am so grateful. Like I said, it's not easy every day, but I was also, they don't behave like they did. I was the special case, the experiment. I guess we created the business out of this experience and what we can do better and how to behave. I've learned a lot on my side as well. But anyways, these people have changed my life. They were my pillars when nobody else supported me, when I wanted to disappear. They were the one who always brought me back into the action, who always triggered something positive or negative, but just to make me react. And I'm so grateful for that. The world needs our mentors and our presidents. Tony Robbins, love you so much. I will be supporting you. Like I said, I will be supporting your campaign. I wanted to be the first one to announce that you will be running for president, because I created this. And Dean Graziosi, who's that? I don't know. Never met this guy. But anyways, thank you for always making me laugh when I was sad, for always finding a way to re-explain, redirect the strategies, trying to see better for me, which in the beginning, when I studied my master's degree, I wanted to work at the United Nations a long time ago, and then I got married and stuff, and this completely went out of my mind, and somehow, yes, baby, somehow the man knew that I was meant for that and helped me direct to that way. Esteban, you be patient, okay, or you're not gonna get it. Okay, anyways, someone is getting impatient, but I'm gonna finish with the fatherland and talk about Russia. Esteban, we talked about it. You gotta be patient or you're not gonna have it at all. Okay? Please. Esteban.
Hey, can I have that?
Hold on, I'll just show it. The fatherland. So they call Russia the fatherland. So tomorrow I have a workshop. I'm gonna be painting the little Russian doll. I already started preparing and I'm gonna do a world.
Can I paint?
No, not right now.
Please. I really want to.
Not right now. And the pyramid, the Eiffel Tower, these are for tomorrow. Keep it. I bought one for you for tomorrow.
Please, I need to do it right now.
Okay, go. So I'm gonna put a little Russian doll. So yeah, Bulgaria is the country that showed neutrality for this conflict. So I'm thinking this would be the perfect occasion that Russia and Ukraine and all the allies countries of both of the sides decide that it's time for peace, to put all the weapons in Bulgaria, in neutral land, to avoid treason and you know, backup plans and stuff like that. It's important to reestablish the trust, you know, and to do it together. There was a time where Vladimir Putin, he was very good friends with the French president and American president, you know. What happened? I have this picture of Vladimir Putin and George W. Bush shaking hands. They're all looking so friends and so happy when Vladimir Putin was elected. What happened? Was that after 9/11? Was that when they changed the governments? I don't know what happened for the diplomatic relationships to go like this, but the only way that we can make it better is to explain. I would like to know points by points, what is the purpose of the war? Okay, all the stuff are outdated. The Ukrainian Nazis, how they treated the Russian in 1945, this is 70 years ago, or 80 years ago, most of us that we were not even born. That's a little outdated. That's not a reason to make a war nowadays. Okay, destroying to rebuild and make sure there's no people around it. Okay, so I'm gonna finish. So let's work together. I'm just thinking, if I was born in Russia or if I was born in Ukraine, I would be their enemy. I would be someone's enemy. I'm nobody's enemy. You know, we're citizens of the world nowadays. Encourage the Russian people to travel and discover the culture from the other countries. And you know, there was a post this morning. They were saying people have this idea of Russian people that are uneducated, but these are outdated stereotypes. Well, I would say the same about America. The stuff I hear, culture censorship and stuff like that, it was true, but no longer, because if you follow the news and our network, join our network. I invite you to join my Facebook page, Pachamam Art, where I always try to share other organizations' posts and to, like I said, harmonize the relationships. So I invite you to join us. And now I'm going to, it's Father's Day, right? So, and Vladimir Putin, one more thing, he's been ruling for so long. Imagine next year is the elections. How will he be remembered? Will he be remembered as the man who did wars around just to prove his point, or the person, I think he's the most powerful person in the world right now, because Vladimir Putin, if he decides to say enough ego, enough revenge, we have the power to be the era that established the peace. If he says that, I guarantee all the other countries are going to follow and do the same thing. And he will be the hero initiators of the peace in the world, you know, so maybe that would be worth
$1,800,000.
How do you say, forgiving, you know, what's been done, and for a fresh start and rewriting history right now. Okay, so Father's Day, I'm gonna read a card from the Lightworker Oracle from Alana Fairchild. That is a beautiful oracle. Pull a card right now. Here, Esteban, little child, pull one card.
Okay, I'm gonna grab these.
Let me see.
And then grab...
Give me one. Thank you. Grounding. And I'm gonna pull one too. Oh, that's crazy. I exactly pulled these two cards. Grounding.
Wait, grounding?
Grounding.
No.
So it's an elemental symbol of the
Love.
earth.
Love.
Grounding. So she's vulnerable, obviously. And she's reaching down to a flower. The flower is pretty small, but when you see the roots inside of the ground are super deep. Okay, so maybe on the surface, sometimes it's also like the truth. The surface.
Look, mommy.
Oh, you did it! Look, Esteban just did a little Russian doll. Good job, babe. The soul child. What will this be? Will it be the child looking at the sun, looking at the Space Olympics, or will it be a nuclear weapon blowing up? What would be the example we want to give for our children? I don't know. But you see, this card is very... sometimes, you know, what's seen on the surface, it's not always what there is. There is a lot underneath the surface that we don't know, we don't see. But that is the root problem.
Plants. We see
Maybe
plants.
the conflicts. Okay, red. She's wearing red. Red is color of passion, but it's also
red
color
is,
of violence and conflict.
No, red is the color of terror.
Terror?
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit. And the last card, the fourth ray of harmony. And this one, perfect. I love it.
And green is the color of lime.
Card number 6. So 6 is the number of family.
And
Bringing
number
the
6
heaven
is
on earth in the communities.
and
you see the door opening.
And you see the door opening.
With the light in it from the heart.
With the light
So
in
maybe
it from
everything
the
that we're
heart.
doing right now is necessary to go through all those conflicts and digging underneath the surface to know what's going on, clear it out. You see how here there's nothing on the surface, it's flat. We cleared it out. Okay,
With power.
and he's looking up. Oh, that's crazy, because look at, she's looking inside that flower, like what she's looking at, and maybe that's what she's seeing, and we're wiping the history to start over, and this is the light coming up from the heaven and our divine source and knowledge, and I guess goodness. I don't have any other word, like positivity and doing the good around us. Beautiful. Amazing. Okay, now some honor to the mother. This is my oracle, the Mother Earth Mandala Oracle. Fanny Minardi, only buy it from US Game System, my publisher, because you can find a lot of fake versions on Amazon, online. There is some fake in Russia as well. Russia, you can have that. But the problem, it doesn't come with a booklet. If you buy the fake version, it doesn't have a booklet. So I recommend you only buy it from US Game System. Let's pull one card for my oracle as well. Yeah, to bring some mother's energy, because we do have some mothers that have to be the mother and the father. The guiding star. Guiding star, the good and the bad. The darkness and the light, which I believe it's not a fight, like I said. This is not a fight against the good ones or the bad ones. It's a fight for values and
war.
Building versus destruction, you know? The guiding star, the star that guides you in the dark when you're lost and you need hope and you need light. This is why mentorship is so necessary. Art to inspire and keep seeing the beauty. You know, when I came in America, it was concrete everywhere, buildings and concretes and roads and highway, concrete's gray. I was like, where is like Wall-E? You know, this is
Wall-E.
Wall-E. I was like, where is the art? Where is the beauty, the wonderness, the wonderment? You know, you have to go to the natural places here. National parks, Grand Canyon. But in the cities, we have a lot, mostly here in Jacksonville, we have a lot to do to make it really wonderful and beautiful. When you go to France, it's beautiful everywhere. You're walking in the villages, it's colors and flowers and
Hey, don't slash Florida again.
I'm not lashing Florida. I love it.
I said trash.
I'm not trashing Florida because we have beautiful rivers, we have beautiful, the natural landscape is beautiful. What I'm saying is what we build as humans, our footprint that we're living in the world needs to be beautiful. Even if it takes longer, we need to make the effort to build beautiful things.
Like this.
That we won't want to destroy, that we will want to promote and continue over time. All right, everybody. And of course, I almost forgot, but another man that I want to say happy Father's Day to is Antonio Guterres, who is the Secretary General of the United Nations, who is also one of the men that I admire so much, and this is why I'm trying to go work with him, because he's one of those, you know, who always steps up to defend the values. And sometimes, you know, maybe at the White House, they need hope and strategy
and love
and techniques and business skills.
And
at the United Nations, they need the compassion, the stepping up against injustice, awareness. Okay, so it's beautiful how everything is falling into place right now, how we all build this dream together, and we're all gonna have our role to play. You know, never underestimate the power of the heart. And I really feel like the United Nations, it is the heart of this country, it is the heart of this world. They are everywhere in the world, in every country. They are the ones who provide food, water, medical assistance. We don't talk about it enough. This is their work. They're humanitarian, the greatest humanitarian branch in the world. They're like the 6th military forces, even though they're not military. But that I hope that they will become the leaders of the military over time, because the military, once we're no longer a war force, it's going to be a peace force and a humanitarian and environmental force. We will be able to guide, and they're already doing that, by the way, the military, right? So working really in sync between the military and the United Nations. So thank you, everybody, for, you know, you're showing the example to
Hey, Mommy, I
Wow.
just finished it. Look. Look.
Young people, I'm not really young, but 10 years of my life were for this little guy.
Look.
Beautiful.
Pink area.
Yay. 10 years of my life were for this little guy, so I feel new in my career,
Hey, what
even
is
though
this
I have
something?
experience. But this is people like that make me want to say, okay, maybe we can matter, maybe we can have an impact, and if we stay silent, then nothing is ever going to change. There's a, yeah, I know. Go grab a paper and pick
No,
up.
I'm too scared. I'm scared of that lizard.
Okay, and to give us the strength to say, okay, now we need to continue their legacy, what they've created. He's over there. He's at his speech talking about we need to remove 13 nuclear weapons. I'm like, wow, he's the only man I've ever heard saying that in public, and that was said, and nobody did anything. So now we need to make it happen. He said that. I was like, yeah, man, okay, I'm on it, let's do it. So it's not just about having the courage. First thing is having the courage to make the speech, and then finding the people and the strategies and the resources that can actually make it happen and continue your legacy. So for that, you can count on me. I hope that we get to work together really soon. I thank you all, everybody. Oh, my phone is ringing. I thank you all, everybody, for watching. If you are, for all these opportunities to grow together and change the world. Love you very much. Have a great day and a great weekend. Come say bye-bye, Esteban.
Oh, bye-bye. Hold on.
Woo.
Now can I watch the video? Now can I watch the video, Mommy?
Yeah, baby. Hold on.